In this video, I'm going to show you how to find the best employees for your law firm so that you can hire with confidence and get amazing results from your team. And then I'm going to show you how you can figure out how to best work with, lead, and communicate with those employees. Now, every single person, before we hire them and before we even offer them a job, we require them to take 2 personality tests. And those personality tests are the DISC assessment and the Colby Index. And the reason we ask them to take these 2 personality tests is because we want to understand their personality, and we also want to understand how they actually operate. Now, the DISC assessment measures someone's personality. It will tell you a lot about their personality, and these tests are actually pretty accurate. The DISC assessment is designed to measure someone's personality, and the Colby Index measures how people actually work on a daily basis. And it's pretty amazing how accurate these tests are. So let's talk about the DISC assessment. The DISC assessment consists of 4 personality types. There's DISC, dominance, influence, steadiness, and conscientiousness. So the first one is dominance. If you are a high D, then you're all about getting things done, and you quickly take charge, and you're often very, very confident. So these are people that are typically very direct, and they usually end up in leadership roles. And this role is best at quickly solving problems, right? Now, an I, the influence type, is very social usually, and they typically get energy from connecting to people, and they're usually very persuasive, upbeat, and positive people. S, steadiness, are typically people that value harmony, sincerity, and reliability. These are great, steady people that you typically want to have in some sort of support role because they usually have a lot of patience. They're very, very consistent, and they put a lot of thought into everything that they actually do. And typically they focus on teamwork and problem solving. And then C, conscientiousness. These are people that are really, really detail oriented. They're really happy diving deep into a project and working hard behind the scenes on that project. And they typically have high expectations around the quality and the accuracy that they expect from themselves and from others. So if you're at a law firm, these are some of the job positions in the firm and the ideal DISC profile for each position. So the law firm owner needs a high D to be very decisive and to be a leader. And they also need a moderate C, which means that they have attention to detail, and they also pay attention to risk assessment. Now, associates, on the other hand, need a very high C because they can focus on quality and use their expertise. And they want a balanced I, which means that they can handle teamwork and client interactions. Paralegals and legal secretaries, you typically want them to be a high S personality type because those types of people are dependable and they're really good at providing support. And you also want them to be a high C, which means that they have a high precision of work and that they pay attention to details and they put out high quality work. Now, in a law clerk, you want somebody that's adaptable and that's open to learning. So a high I is a really good personality trait for that. And you also want them to have a focus on accuracy. So a moderate to high C is also ideal for this position. Now, obviously there's exceptions to every rule. So this isn't the end all be all, but this is a very good guideline. Once you start looking at personality tests and start hiring people, you can kind of get an idea if when the personality test comes back on a candidate, if they might be a good fit for this role based on their personality test. Okay, so now let's talk about the Colby Index. While the DISC profile measures someone's personality, the Colby Index actually measures how they work, and it's very, very important to understand how people work. And it consists of 4 scores. There's fact finder, follow through, quick start, and implementer. Now, a fact finder is all about research and gathering information. The real question is, how much information do you need before you start taking action on a project? The higher the fact finder, typically the more details that they need to start a project. Follow through is all about your organization, systemization, and execution skills. How organized are you? How good are you at planning and then executing a plan to completion? That's what follow through measures. And it's very important to have people that are high follow through in your business because that's how stuff actually gets done and stays organized. Now, quick start measures, how are you with dealing with risk and uncertainty? People who have a high quick start thrive on spontaneity and innovation. Typically, they're more likely to take more risk, and they often are the first ones to lead the charge on new projects, even if the details aren't completely clear as to what the new project is. And finally, implementer. Implementer is how well you work with physical objects. If you have a high implementer score, you're probably very handy. For example, construction workers, engineers, people that like arts and crafts. These types of people typically have a high implementer score. Now, if you're looking for different roles in your law firm, these are some of the Colby Index scores that you could use to determine if this person is actually a good fit for the role. So as you can see, a law firm owner typically has a higher fact finder and a higher quick start, but not necessarily a high follow through because of the fact that you should have a team underneath of you doing the work for you. Associate attorneys typically should have a high fact finder and a moderate to high follow through because they're the ones that are reading documents, paying attention to what actually has to happen for your clients, and then implementing some of the work. Now, they're not doing all the work because typically they're going to have a paralegal and legal assistants to help them. Now, a paralegal should be high fact finder and high follow through because they need to understand the details and they also need to execute whatever the law firm needs for the client. And finally, legal assistants should have moderate to high fact finder and very high follow through because they are going to be doing busy work all day long typically. So what happens if you're a law firm owner and you're looking at your Colby scores and they just don't match this ideal profile? Well, here's the thing. There is no actual ideal profile. This is just kind of a general idea, a general rule of thumb. But what's cool is that once you understand your profile and your Colby assessment, so how you think and how you work, then you can build your team based around you. So one thing I love doing is going to ChatGPT and saying to ChatGPT, okay, here's my scores. Who should I hire? Who's the best candidate? What scores should they have to complement my personality? And I do that with a very simple prompt. I say, I'm a law firm owner and my Colby score is this, and my DISC profile is this. What type of person should I hire as my COO? And what should those scores be to complement mine so we can grow? Now, it doesn't have to be a COO. It could be an associate attorney. It can be a paralegal. It can be a legal clerk. It can be whatever you want. But what you do is ask ChatGPT for this information, and then you can keep an eye out for these types of personality tests so that you know when you hire somebody, they will be somebody that complements your skill sets and you work very, very well together. Now, once you do hire somebody, you need to know exactly how to work for them. So once again, we go to ChatGPT for the rescue. So you can see this prompt that I entered. I said, I'm a law firm owner and my Colby A score is my score and my DISC profile is high D and high I. My paralegal's Colby A score is 7733 and her DISC profile is high C and moderate S. What is the best way for us to work together? What do we need to know about each other? And what's amazing is that when you ask this question and you give ChatGPT this data, it will kick out an entire instruction manual for how the two of you should work with each other and how you should communicate with your employees. And when you understand how to communicate with people and you understand how people are hardwired to work, then you can be very, very productive and have a very productive relationship with that person. Now, one last tip that I have when it comes to using personality tests is to take this personality test with your spouse or your partner. And one other cool thing you can do is if you take the love language test, then what you can do is you can throw your love language in as well. And once again, you can ask ChatGPT, and what you can do is you can say, ChatGPT, this is my DISC, this is my Colby, this is my love language, this is my partner's DISC, Colby, and love language. How can we have the best relationship possible? And it will give you like a 5-page manual talking about how you should communicate with your partner, how your partner should communicate with you, and how you can have a very harmonious relationship. My wife and I did this a couple years ago, and it's actually really, really helpful, and it has made a huge difference. So whether you're using personality tests to find the best candidates, to figure out how to work with your employees, or just to improve your marriage, there's a lot of utility to these tests. So take the personality test and let me know in the comments what you find out. Let me know if you find anything surprising about yourself.